Got the saddest feeling nowadays that all my dreams are much too far away. Sometimes the nights got me aching, working hours in the cold. And I can't imagine how it feels to end up where you feel you had to go. I've been lost, starving, praying nothing else will go wrong. I guess we're all dying, waiting for the world to lose control. Could you tell me what it's really like to feel like you've got the world by your side? 'Cause trust me, babe, I've done my good, give all I had and a little more than I should.
Hey, that's my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry, officer.
Hey, I said quit it. Hey, you trying to blow my
Oh,
cover?
I'm sorry, officer. So, you think it's funny to lie to the police?
All these programs seem to be about corrupt police dogs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, what other animal is capable of getting away with it? A dirty house cat? Not likely.
I've only ever traveled on one other airline that had this many canine cop shows.
Yeah, what was it?
It was before the war, and it was my God, this is a German airline.
That was a little clip from Danger 5. If you're not enjoying the show already, I can't recommend it enough. Good times, how are you? It is indeed a 2 for Tuesday. Welcome back, Jess Rush, good to see you. Wireless Mike, Wicked Foxy, Dragon, Mars Falcon, hello. Happy 4th, yes indeed. You know, you might think, being the insufferable lefty that I am, that I'd be down on the 4th of July. Not at all. I am all about the vision of America that the 4th of July celebrates. Truth be told, I don't think we're there yet. I'm a little more ambitious about America than where we currently are. But I think the ability to become a country wherein you really can be anything you want to be with just hard work and a can-do attitude, that can be achieved in our lifetime. I think it's possible, and I look forward to it, and I wish you all a happy 4th of July. But this ain't the end of the stream, this is the beginning. And to that fact, there's a new video out by Bo of the Fifth Column. Thought I'd check it out with y'all. Let me do an intro. Got a new video from Bo of the Fifth Column that I wanted to check out with the gang. The Wicked Senate here. He's talking about 4th of July trivia. And whenever Bo's got some trivia to lay down, you know it's going to be good. So let's find out what it is together. And hey, if it ends up being a bummer, I probably have a pretty optimistic spin to add on. But let's see. Let's find out.
Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Bo again.
Howdy, Bo.
So today is definitely going to be a little bit different. Today we're going to just do the video prompted by a message and then read the message afterward. The video itself is going to be a 4th of July special. We're going to talk about 8 figures that were very important to the founding of this country. And I'm basically just going to go through and name the figure and talk about the thing they're best known for. And then I'll give you one piece of trivia that ties them all together.
Ooh, wait a minute. I don't think it's going to be mentioned, but I hope my favorite founding father is mentioned. And that gentleman's name is Alexander Sherman. Fun fact for you. Alexander Sherman is my favorite founding father. The fella was not a slave owner, spoke out against it, tried to make it not part of the United States, and he's also one of the only people to sign all, count 'em all, of the American founding documents, so to speak. So, had the chutzpah to tell King George we was scrapping, and put his name to it, and spoke the truth in regards to slavery. Could not like that fella more. Good job, Alexander Sherman. Let's find out who he's going to talk about, though.
And then I'll give you a couple other things to look up on your own if you wanted to later.
Eh.
Okay, so the first one, Alexander Hamilton. Actually,
darn.
incredibly important to the founding of this country, but realistically best known for a musical. You have Pierre Charles L'Enfant, I'm sure I mispronounced that, the architect of D.C. D.C. would not look like D.C. without him. You have Frederick von Steuben, who was instrumental in turning the fledgling American military into into something a little bit more modern by the standards of the day. Of course, you have Lafayette, also very important militarily. You have Charles Adams, who was important in his relationship to Steuben, but probably best known for being the son of John Adams. You have John Lorenz, who was probably best known for recruiting slaves into the war effort.
That's interesting. Just wanted to say, from the jump, we had the nepotism, huh? Ooh. Well, that's unfortunate.
You have James Buchanan, who probably best known for being the first bachelor president. And then you have Thomas Morton, who is certainly best known for challenging the social beliefs of his contemporaries. Okay, so what do these 8 men have in common?
Lay it down.
They were all confirmed or rumored by their contemporaries to be part of the LGBTQ community. And while we're on this topic, if this is something that interests you, you might want to look into how Jamestown, that really important colony, how their households were structured at times. And you may want to find out why log cabin Republicans are called log cabin Republicans. Now let's read the message. Hey, you did a lot for Pride, and I tolerated it. For 4th of July, could you just do a video celebrating America or American history? It would be great to not hear gay stuff, not his term, today. How about you just pay homage to the men who gave you the freedom of the speech you abuse daily? Granted, happy 4th of July. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.
Oh. That was good. That was good. Well done. Well done, Bo, the 5th column. No notes. Yeah, anybody who is of the belief that that homosexual activity is a new thing, you just got to tell them they're wrong. I mean, it's that simple. The gays have always been here, folks. Around every corner. Hiding in the closet. They've always been here. A certain percentage of us have always preferred a different gender than the other percentage has. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's the most simple thing on earth to understand. Some folks are gay. And if you want to know why there are higher rates of charted homosexuality these days, it's simply because it's less dangerous. It's less destructive to your career to be gay now officially. So if what you really want is a world where there's a bunch of gay folks pretending to be straight so they don't get killed, you want a bad world. And if you're of the belief that all this violence towards gay folks actually makes them not gay, you're wrong. I would just say that to them. But really, I mean, what can I add? The original video is linked, of course, in the description. Go click on it. We watched the whole thing. It was lightning quick. Click on it. Give it a thumbs up. Hell, leave it playing in the background or just watch it again to the end. Give the man his due, because he earned it. Well done, Bo of the Fifth Column. Let's see what you all have to say. Jess Rush, that was great. Wireless mic, gotta love malicious compliance. Yes. The anti-corporatist, I'm a lefty because I believe in freedom. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Jess Rush, hello there. Radical centrist, cheers from stormy Denver. Ooh, that just sounds lovely. I love a good stormy evening. That's just lovely. I like the sound of the rain pattering on the window. And I was going to turn it into some sort of a dark joke, but I couldn't think of one in time, so it's just going to be uncomfortably genuine for a moment. Hey, how about I go back to being a sassy bitch? Brian Tyler Cohen. He found something good. Let's have a look at the fruits. What you have done. Hey, spin-off channel right there. Has borne. A lot of folks, a whole lot of folks can get worn out doing what you and your old pal Jake are doing here. Because when there's so much to fix, it can feel like you're not making any progress. It's like swimming in a lake that's so big you can't see the other side. It might not feel like you're moving at all, but you are. And the U.S. Department of Justice did not use to go after Republican criminals. Let's talk about them doing just that. The U.S. government, as stated in the other intro, the U.S. government did not use to go after the Republican criminals. It's been an unfortunate way we have functioned for a very long time, but pressure from you has changed that. The fact that you, people who have the ability to write emails, people who have the ability to write letters, make phone calls, and most importantly, people who give a damn, have made it clear that we're not going to put up with this anymore. As a result, by God, there's actually some investigations going on. Trump has been indicted. We're doing all right. We're chugging along. We fell real far into a dark chasm, but we are climbing out. Lot more left. There's a lot more cliff face left to climb. And we can't give up. But here's some proof that we're making progress, brought to us by Brian Tyler, new to MSNBC, Cohen.
Keeping the apparent tradition of Fox News getting hit with fines alive, the network has today agreed to pay $12 million to former Tucker Carlson producer Abby Grossberg, who'd come out
And I should clarify, by the way, this is not Department of Justice, although we're going to talk about that in a moment. This is still, though, the U.S. court system. And if you don't think that a civil action was under those same constraints and the same pressure from public opinion, I got to just say, not so. So this is right in line with it. Still, good job. And yes, this update on Abby Grossman is, it's delightful. Anytime Fox loses money for being scum, it's delightful.
Accused the network of creating a hostile work environment, workplace discrimination, and coercing her into providing false testimony in a deposition. Grossberg came out today with a statement saying, quote, "I'm hopeful based on our discussions with Fox News today that this resolution represents a positive step by the network regarding its treatment of women and minorities in the workplace." Although I would add that I don't think Fox is doing much of any soul searching when it comes to their treatment of women or minorities, but it's always nice to see them forced to part with millions of dollars regardless. In her lawsuit, Grossberg alleged that Carlson and other male producers on the show regularly used vulgar language to describe women and made anti-Semitic remarks. There are a lot of disturbing details in the lawsuit to back up her claims, such as staffers allegedly plastering oversized images of Nancy Pelosi in a bikini throughout the office. Because remember, family values. Grossberg had accused Fox of passing her over for promotions and giving her less desirable assignments because of her gender. She also alleged that Fox failed to take action when she complained about the harassment and discrimination, and she added that she was told by Human Resources that, quote, "This is just the way things are at Fox News." Although, in Fox's defense, I'd imagine just about anyone could have told her that that's the way things are at Fox News. And of course, Grossberg's lawsuit came at the same time that Fox was in the throes of the Dominion lawsuit, which would ultimately be settled for a record $787 million. And just like that lawsuit was predicated on the raft of lies and liars that Fox platformed around the 2020 election, Abby Grossberg also recounted details of that same phenomenon as part of her own lawsuit.
I found it difficult to cover the kind of stories that they wanted me to cover. I wasn't expecting it. Maybe I should have. That's what some people say. But, for example, right toward the end of my time there, when the January 6 tapes were coming out, Tucker was very set on finding an FBI person who was implanted in the crowd and spinning this conspiracy that they were ultimately the ones responsible for the Capitol attack, not Fox News, as they're about to go into the Dominion trial, that it was really, the FBI that set up this thing, not Fox telling the American people that the election was rigged and the voting machines did it. And when I went back to them and said, look, there's no conspiracy theory here. I called this attorney that's representing one of the Proud Boys, and he flat out told me on 2 occasions, there is no conspiracy. Get away from this stuff. This is dangerous. Tell Tucker to stop.
Okay. I just want to say, again, none of this happens. Not even really the Dominion lawsuit without the public pressure. Why? Because time and time again, courts, especially courts that deal with gigantic lawsuits like this, find it easier just to force arbitration or end these things as quickly and as painlessly for the giant companies as possible, because they do everything in their power to make it a headache. That's when they have giant teams of lawyers like that, they're not all sitting around trying to think, what's the best legal approach? No, there's one lead lawyer generally, or one lead law firm with an assigned specific top dog who's coming up with the overall strategy. And everybody else is there to file an insane amount of requests to gum up the works in every way they can, to make sure that the other side has every opportunity to slip. And judges generally don't want to deal with it. When will they deal with it? When they know they will look corrupt because people are looking at them. Your interest in these matters. And I have virtually the same intro for the next segment. But your interest in these matters is what has given the court system in the United States the social motivation which they require to do their jobs properly. That's why we have been able to have Dominion take a big chunk out of Fox. That's why Abby Grossman is able to get a fairer shake in court. Now, admittedly, these cases were about as open and shut as you can imagine. But I'll tell you, a lot of pretty wild things have skated by the court system in times when we were all less interested in this. And it's worthy of noting. But let's get back to it. I'm enjoying this tea. Blowing up Fox on 4th of July, I'll take it.
Come on your show and represent my client, but I absolutely will walk off if he asks me this. And the response was, well, find somebody else. Tucker is really intent on this. And that wore on my mental health, too, because by that time, I had really begun to connect the dots that the programming that we were putting on the air every night was not just generating business, but also generating hatred in the audience. And
you think?
After January 6th, I had this wake-up moment that this is hurting people. People are getting angry, and people are acting out on that anger, and this is not okay, and I don't want to be part of that.
So if you were wondering...
Well, we'll get to that in a second. I did want to say one thing on January 6th. Every time I start to think, Jesus, am I crazy? Is this is it really is MAGA really as bad as it looks? I remember January 6th. It's every bit as bad as it looks. Most of the violence encouraged by MAGA preachers of all kinds, be they on Fox or Newsmax or just out in the street wearing a sign that may as well say, I hate N-words. Most of that violence is spread out. And in total, there's a lot more than just what happened on January 6th. But it happens in small places, in anonymous places. There's cruelty in forums online, sure. There's cruelty just casually, but not quite escalating to the point of writing up a police report about it. In interactions every day. Really, just a lot of trash attitudes out there. Just looking for an excuse to bother other people. But there is actual violence as well. Both systematic and as just a result of these people not being held to account. If you ever get like me, or if you ever get like, need a wake-up call like Abby Grossman there, remember January 6th. That's what it looks like when you got cameras on it. The mob of people dragging traitor flags through the United States Capitol. That's what they would do given the opportunity. That's who they are.
Just how deep the rot ran at Fox? It's pretty damn deep. And keep in mind, both this $12 million settlement and the $787 million settlement aren't the end of Fox's legal troubles. There's still the impending Smartmatic lawsuit, which is for $2.7 billion, along with a shareholder lawsuit owed to the fact that Fox breached its fiduciary duty to its shareholders by allowing these lies to harm Fox's reputation and its finances in the first place. I'm starting to think that maybe predicating your entire brand on abject lies may not be such a smart long-term strategy. And it's not just Fox. What's worse for the right-wing ecosystem, Dominion and Smartmatic are both in the process of a series of additional lawsuits against a whole range of individuals and businesses. Dominion's reportedly pursuing litigation against Newsmax, One America News, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and Mike Lindell. Smartmatic is reportedly pursuing litigation against Newsmax, One America News, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and they're also going after Fox's Janine Pirro, Maria Bartiromo, and Lou Dobbs. As I mentioned, Fox is facing additional legal legal action, including a potential lawsuit from their own shareholders. So if you're wondering why the network suddenly seems very open to settlements, their massive legal exposure might help explain things. But I do want to be clear about one thing. Don't expect much of a culture change at places like Fox. The lies and obfuscation of facts aren't some fluke, they are the strategy. And so
do remember, little victories lead to big victories. Goes the other way too. Sometimes a surprise big victory opens up the path for a bunch of little ones. $12 million ain't nothing. That's a team of people working year-round. That's a large team of people working year-round that Fox can no longer afford. Good. But he's right. I would say don't expect them to change utterly. We just need to make it too expensive for them to exist. And boy, just doing what you're doing, keep it up.
So lawsuits like this one are priced in. For them, this is just the cost of doing business. Without the lies, Fox wouldn't have a business model. They wouldn't have the revenue to begin with. So if these infrequent settlements mean that Fox and other far-right outlets can continue to pepper their viewers with lies, then so be it. The settlements are a nuisance, sure, but the reason for those lawsuits is central to Fox's very existence. And who knows, maybe the sheer magnitude of these settlements will one day make Fox's business model untenable. But considering that Maria Bartiromo is still on the air, Jeanine Pirro, Jesse Waters, Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, and so many more of the most blatant, shameless liars, Fox is clearly not changing much. The difference now is that finally, those impacted by Fox's dangerous lies and behavior can see that the network isn't going to be able to slink away unscathed. So if they're going to lie, at least now they're going to have to pay for it.
Really, really well done from Brian Tyler Cohen. Yeah, look, the pressure's working, folks. We're civil cases, sure, we're getting those. We had that, I think, in large part with E. Jean Carroll and Trump because it seemed possible. It seemed, the attitude in the country seemed like it was not going to permit the same old nonsense. It's also happening in the world of criminal justice, which I want to go into next. But first, I'd very much like to see what y'all have to say about it. Because, man, there are few glasses of tea that I enjoy more than the ones sipped when Fox News having a rough day. Oh, man. Wicked Foxy Dragon. Okay, back, but away from my laptop. Still listening, but gotta take my little man out to look at fireworks. Happy 4th, everyone. Happy 4th, Wicked Foxy Dragon. Wow, Jake. Sexy voice in my earbuds. Well, look, I tried to brace you. It's Brian Tyler Cohen. He's a handsome devil. Mars Falcon. Highly doubt she woke up to anything. I believe her not one bit. Her grift fell through. This is Mars Falcon, if I didn't announce that. And she got paid $12 million, causing the executive board to skip brunch for at least 3 weeks to pay her out. Well put across the board. Yeah, I think you're right. I think she knew exactly what she was doing when she was doing it. I think what she actually realized around January 6th is, the end will come for this. This can't last. This is, I think she thought what we all thought, which is there is a definite end to this MAGA business, because now the establishment must react to save itself. And we found ourselves, for once, on the same side. But, then they were their weak, normal selves about it. We had Democrats in charge, and God help us, that means tiptoeing and undeserved forgiveness at the expense of those who were most endangered by the actions. But hey, good news is your voices are being heard. We had Franny P write in the other day. And Franny, I just responded. If you're out there, sorry it took 4 days. I'm not super great about organizing tabs. But She was just writing in about a response she got regarding emails about government spending. And I gotta say, just the fact that Franny P's out there writing these emails, telling the White House how she feels with some regularity, it's incredibly heartening. That builds my confidence that things are going to be okay. Because most of this corruption has relied on you and I not watching this particularly closely. What has MAGA taught us, though? A small, vocal minority can have a massive change on the way things go. That minority pushes the politicians, and then the politicians push everybody else. But once they know they rely on your vote to get into office, if you have enough of a minority, enough of the accounted for voters that they require you to get into office, baby, they're under your control. The gravy train stops if you decide it stops. That is a valuable lesson to learn. Let's now use that, and let's use that for good. A lightsaber is a lightsaber. Let's wield the blue one. We ain't Sith, but we ain't pushovers either. Talking about Luke Skywalker up in this B. I know I probably should have gone for green where he actually wins. Whatever. All right, I've got something. I've got something that I'm looking forward to sharing with you. So, one of the channels, I should probably do a proper intro, huh? We give her a like, and then we'll talks about it. There we are. One of the channels I like going to for updates on the criminal justice side of things, really, I mean, just the court side of things, I suppose, is Raw News and Politics. Relatively new YouTube channel. Does great breakdowns of a lot of the stuff other people don't cover, or gets there first on a lot of this stuff. This gal reads, obviously, news articles and what have you, but she reads the court documents as well. And man, if you got somebody that does that regularly, that's a valuable contributor. So, Raw News and Politics, out there with a new piece of news. Guess what? Another Trump ally has flipped. Let's look at this.
The show. So another Donald Trump ally has reportedly entered into a proffer agreement with the special counsel. This is awesome news. You guys will recall I recently shared Mike Roman was in talks with the special counsel to possibly take a cooperation deal. Well, now it's being reported that they have solidified that deal, and he will be talking with the DOJ to share what he knows. And this is under what's alternatively called as Queen for a Day. So it means that he's going to spill the tea. He's going to tell them everything he knows, what he was doing, what others were doing, and he can't be prosecuted for any crimes that he admits to during that proffer session. Roman, as I mentioned before, he was a senior advisor for Trump's 2020 campaign, and he's said to have been very involved in the fake electors plot.
That's two that I know of that are directly involved in the fake electors plot. Yeah. They're going after him, baby. They are finally getting off their duffs and attending to the coup. We are now, once and for all, going to establish how we deal with this nonsense. Thank God. Only took the better part of 3 years. But thank God. Real quick, if you don't know, or if you didn't see the other streams, the proffer agreement is important because it is an opportunity for a person that was involved in a crime to bail, essentially, to say, like, oh, man, shouldn't have done that. I'm going to come to Jesus here in front of the prosecutors. I'm going to tell them everything. But it's different from a straight-up immunity deal. I suppose it's a kind of immunity deal, but it's different from the generic. In that there's a lot more power held by the prosecutors. There's a lot more incentive for you not to leave anything out because, basically at a whim, if they find you effed with them in any way, shape, or form, revoked. No, sir. Taken away. And we now know everything you did because you told us a whole hell of a lot. So all that stuff you told us you did do, you no longer have immunity for that because you lied to us about this. Or you failed to tell us this other thing that you did. Having one person there, like Rudy Giuliani, that was huge. And that was real good. But it sure does leave him open for some effery. 2 people there. 2 people means now both of them. Both of them are wondering what the other one said. And if Rudy suddenly, upon learning that this cat has himself a proffer agreement as well, if he knows what this Mike fella did, is that it? Mike Rowan? Or is that the guy from Dirty Jobs? It doesn't matter. Knowing what this other guy said, Rudy might call him up and be like, oh, you know, I just remembered. I just remembered here. I got a thing. Another crime that I did. And can't we do another Queen for a Day thing? I look forward to news that Rudy Giuliani has met once again with prosecutors. Let's keep our eyes peeled. Let's see if that comes to pass. I bet it's gonna. And I bet we know about this because that's exactly what they wanted.
So he likely knows where all the bodies are buried. And during his interviews with the January 6th Select Committee from the House, Roman refused to answer questions related to Rudy Giuliani. He refused to say what they discussed following the 2020 election. So it's very interesting that those 2 are the ones who are now allegedly cooperating and flipping on Trump. You know, it's basically which came first, right? The Giuliani chicken or the Roman egg. And as with so many other Trump allies, his phone, this Roman guy, his phone was seized quite a while ago. So the special counsel probably already had some leverage over him. I think it's safe to say Donald Trump and a lot of his allies are going to be going through some things very soon. It was also just reported that during Giuliani's proffer session, the special counsel pressed him for details about a December meeting that was in 2020. You guys will probably remember this. Sidney Powell in that meeting was allegedly really pushing for the military to seize voting machines. And Trump's White House counsel, his attorneys, went completely ballistic on all of these people. On, I think it was Mike Flynn, Sidney Powell, a bunch of other people in there.
Hey, heads up, no deals for Mike Flynn. I am confident that Trump wanted a general to be his generalissimo, his red right hand. No deals for that guy. For the record, there's very few people I won't say give him a deal so they turn on Trump. That dude is legitimately dangerous. He had dealings with other foreign countries that required a pardon to get him out of the Huskow for. And if it turns out that he is what he looks like, which is Trump's chosen leader of the traitor forces that he was trying to whip up, can't have him out there. We just can't have it. that guy's got to spend the rest of his life behind bars. I read a biography of somebody that worked with Mike Flynn, and I gotta say, it's sad how far down this guy fell from where he was. He wasn't very high up, but he was a respected commander over in the Middle East. His troops thought he logistically was all right, but part of soldiering these days, God help us, is playing politics. And he, as we find ourselves saying so often, he went down the rabbit hole. Crazy. All right, let's let her wrap this up.
And his White House counsel just laid them out. Also, over the weekend, news broke that in late December of 2020, Trump reached out to then Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, and he was pressuring him to overturn the election. So this information comes from a Republican donor. Ducey has not admitted. He said, yes, I've spoken with Trump, but he won't tell anyone what he said. But apparently Ducey went and met with this donor, had a meal with him, and this donor told the Washington Post that earlier this year, Ducey confirmed that, yes, Trump called him, he pressured him to overturn the election. And then this has also been confirmed by several other sources who know about this call. The donor told the Washington Post that Ducey expressed surprise. He said, I'm really shocked that the special counsel hasn't reached out yet to ask me about this call. But WAPO says that the special counsel has reached out to other witnesses about the call. So they're very aware of the call. They just, for some reason, haven't asked Ducey about it yet. They also say that Trump repeatedly pressured Vice President Mike Pence to contact Ducey and put the screws to him as well. Now, according to the Washington Post, Pence did call Ducey on numerous occasions, and he did discuss the election, but they say that he didn't exert any kind of pressure over him. He basically just said, hey, if you find anything, let us know. Keep us posted.
So, surprised is one word for it. Nervous is another. I'm really nervous that they haven't contacted me about this yet. I would be nervous too. I would be as well. Because, good God, letting this go unattended, being somebody who you witnessed, if you witnessed a crime, and the police, and it was a very public crime, and the police know who you are, and they don't turn up to ask you about it, I'd be nervous too. I'd be nervous that they're not interested in solving that crime. Heartening to hear that apparently they have the information from other sources. Why wouldn't you just send an intern with a tape recorder and a list of questions at a minimum for Governor Ducey, or for Ducey? God, I'm not going to say his name correctly. Whatever. For the guy that got pressured. Governor Ducey, I believe, is the correct way to say it. Anyway, it's wild to me.
Search for fraud, and that they followed up on leads, and they just didn't find anything substantial. They didn't find anything that was significant enough to change the outcome of the election, which everyone has said. And remember, Doug Ducey is a Republican. These are people on his team, some of whom voted for him, like the authorities, the officials in Georgia. They voted for Trump both times, 2016 and 2020. And they told him over and over and over again, there was no fraud. There was no significant fraud that would have overturned the election in your favor. He just doesn't want to admit it. Doesn't want to admit that he's a loser. I mean, own it. You're a loser, baby. So I'm not going to say the rest.
Thank you.
All right. Anyway, all right, guys, I will let you know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and
Good update from her. Delighted to hear that we have another proffer agreement. This one for Roman, was it? Whatever. One of the henchmen that worked closely with Giuliani. I expect that we are going to hear that Giuliani's he just remembered something else that he's going to go in and talk about. I have a feeling that's going to happen. Regardless, nothing but good news. It's almost hard to believe, but look, this is because the people of the United States have finally taken an interest in how our government is run, and we no longer are putting up with the nonsense we used to be, and even take heart, strange as it might seem, at the existence of MAGA, because even they, who know nothing about how the government actually functions, even they are at least making it clear that the way it has been functioning will no longer be accepted. And the challenge we have going forward is to present a new way for the government to run that sounds better than what MAGA's offering. And folks, that ain't too hard. What MAGA's offering is a series of wackadoo conspiracy theories. They're offering literally smearing fecal matter in the Capitol and waving around Confederate flags and just being horrible see you next Tuesdays. That's after Trump's first term, after January 6th, after DeSantis has done what DeSantis has done regarding anti-LGBTQ plus laws. It's pretty clear what they're offering. All we have to do is make clear what we're offering. We are offering a fair shake at the American dream for everyone. We're offering everyone the means necessary to achieve the American dream. And that, I think, a lot of folks are going to enjoy. And I think they're going to vote for that. Let's see what y'all have to say. Mars Falcon, Beck for the win. Yeah, she got me with a little of that. Oh, Andrew Then, Merry Newsday Tuesday, indeed. I hope we get Emma Vigeland, at least on social media, wishing us a happy hump day. It just won't be the same without that. I know Majority Report's on a vacation this week until Thursday. The Anti-Corporatist, I do believe that it was Jim Carrey in his seminal role as Ace Ventura, pet detective, who said it best when he said, loser. Yes, wholeheartedly agreed. Weird, I just saw some Jim Carrey stand-up. Jess Rush, have we picked out dates we think the indictments from Georgia will start? It's this month, yes? I don't know. I would expect August if I had to predict it, just because I really desperately want it to be this month. And God doesn't like me to be happy. Andrew Then, always good to see you, Wireless Mike. Yes, indeed, it is. And good to see you, Andrew Then. Good evening, gentle peoples. Wireless Mike, I agree, Jake, 100%. No deals for Flynn. Yes, please. 100%. Oh. You know, there was a great big long stream that I wanted to do like a multi-part thing with. Maybe I'll do that in a future endeavor. I do want to do a bonus video for you here. Ooh, since we're celebrating 4th of July together, may as well keep it going a little bit. There is basically it's essentially the same thing. Just a lesser version. Ooh. It's just more Trump legal troubles. And you'll see the twist in a moment. This one's more about Trump shooting his own foot yet again, let's say. when Trump was indicted for the can't even remember now. I think it was the second time. This in the documents case. This is, I believe, first federal indictment. First, but certainly not last. If Raw News and Politics from the last segment has anything to say about it. Judge did not give him a whole heck of a lot of restraints. But the judge did give him some. And one of the things the judge said you can't do is talk to your co-defendant, Walt Nauta, about the case. You can still be Walt Nauta's employer, but you can't talk to him about this case. Michael Popak from Midas Touch has an interesting update on that.
This is Michael Popak, Legal AF. The Department of Justice is going to have a field day with the fact that Donald Trump decided recently to have a cheesesteak date with his co-defendant and employee, Walt Nauta. They're not supposed to be talking about the case at all, and that's by a direct order of the court.
Wait a minute.
Magistrate.
No, wait a minute. Now, I don't know if y'all have gotten in trouble with your pals before, but once in a while, one of your pals will know that you're doing something foolish, will be more conscious of the fact that you're doing something foolish than the rest of yous. How much do you want to bet that that face? How much do you want to bet that Donald Trump, while paranoid about Mar-a-Lago being watched or whatever the hell, went out with Walt Nauta to talk in public, stopped for cheesesteaks, and Walt Nauta was terrified about the consequences of whatever conversation they were having as he looked through the window and saw somebody holding a camera up. Oh, that goddamn face. All right. Let's enjoy.
About the case at all, and that's by a direct order of the court. Magistrate Goodman, when he arraigned Donald Trump, set his own special condition that Donald Trump, while he can continue to employ Walt Nauta as his valet, butler, body man, the person closest to him that, dusts the crackers off his lapel and cleans up his face and hands him the chapstick, that Walt Nauta, who used to be a petty officer, by the way, in the U.S. Navy, got assigned to the White House ultimately and just stayed with Donald Trump all the way through the coup and out through Mar-a-Lago, who's got his own major criminal problems as indicated by the indictment. Let's leave that aside for a minute. Walt Nauta also has a problem. He can't find a lawyer.
Let's address it now. Honestly, one of the things that cheeves me off the most lately, because look, you feel how you want to feel about how much military spending we do. I think it's too much. Feel how you want to feel about where we choose to send our military. I think it's too many places. When we choose to send our military places, I think it's too often. But you cannot deny it is one hell of a hard job. I mean, it just flat out is, and there's not a lot of compensation for it. And one of the few things we give these folks in exchange for, at times, laying down their lives is honor. We don't quantify it with money. We should, just to highlight how sick it is, but we give them stars, badges, ribbons. We acknowledge the hard work they do, the sacrifice they make with honor. One of the forms that it takes is that rather prestigious position that just one person in the Navy gets whenever it opens up, which Walt Nauta got. The fact that it ended up essentially being like a mob movie, where he ends up working in the deli, and then he does a favor for the deli owner, wink, who turns out to really just have the deli as a front, and then off it goes, and Scorsese does a long, unbroken shot, and yada, yada, yada. It sucks that is what Walt Nauta gets. I don't even have a tremendous amount of sympathy for the man as an individual. I don't know anything about Walt Nauta except what was just laid out here, frankly, and in previous reports by similar organizations. But god damn, the fact that something that was meant to be an honor got turned into an opportunity to associate with a criminal, frankly, and get sucked into that life, and very shortly thereafter, on the time scale, this guy going through boot, this guy going through everything necessary to become a petty officer. On the time scale of Walt Nauta's life, it was a couple of years that he spent with Trump, and they ruined his life. I don't see how you recover the respect of decent people after this, unless you let a couple of decades pass and you change your name. It's a shame. All right, let's talk about his lawyer problems.
He's got a lawyer out of Washington, out of the Baltimore area, paid for by Donald Trump, bought and paid for by Donald Trump, his lawyer. And so we've got Stan Woodward, but Stan Woodward's not a Florida lawyer, and the case is in Florida. He needs a Florida lawyer to stand next to him, and they've tried for the last month to find one. And shout out to my fellow Florida bar members. None of them seem to want to step forward and into that federal courthouse for Walt Nauta. And Walt Nauta got stuck because there was some sort of flight problem a couple of days ago, and he missed his arraignment date, which has now been reset. So Walt Nauta's got problems. His other problem is his boss wants to constantly talk to him, and we can only imagine what it's about.
Look, I said up front how I feel about it officially. I can't help being a petty little so-and-so. I am going to laugh rather hysterically that Trump keeps getting them both in trouble. Jesus Christ. Fella, whatever paycheck you're getting from Mar-a-Lago is not worth, literally in terms of dollars and cents, it ain't worth the criminal woes it's gonna cost you. Turn in your 2 weeks notice, get a public defender if you must, make a deal. This is insane. Don't hang out with that guy. He's bad company.
If it's about the case, they are violating the court order. And so the Department of Justice, we've got pictures, because there's always a cell phone somewhere, of Walt Nauta, Donald Trump up at the counter window at a Pat's King of Steaks. P.S. For those that don't get to Philadelphia much, there's two steakhouses, Philly cheese steakhouses. One is Geno's and the other one's Pat's. And there's a battle as to whether Pat's is better or Geno's is better. Sometimes when I go there,
in Detroit, it's Lafayette. It's over Coney dogs, which, by the way, were not invented in Coney Island. They were invented in Detroit. But yeah, every city has its battling meat joint, and Walt Nauta got screwed over at one. That poor face. Oh, God.
I get one of each. But I'm more of a Geno's guy than a Pat's guy, and certainly now I'm going to be. Put that aside for a minute. What the heck is Donald Trump doing standing directly next to Walt Nauta, sharing a cheesesteak with him privately with nobody else around? I mean, that just begs the question, what are you guys talking about? And the Department of Justice is going to inquire as to what are you guys talking about? It's one thing for Walt Nauta to work for Donald Trump and do his job. It's another thing to go off and have a bro date, a bromance, a cheesesteak with your boss, and
Truth be told, let me let the wind out of the sails right now. Based on the way things have gone in the past, I would assume there will be absolutely no consequences for this unless it gets talked about a whole lot. I would write in to any news corporation that you see not talking about it and ask them if the court said anything. You don't have to say, why are you not covering this? You just say, did the court respond to this? Maybe it can just go as far as truly leaving comments under videos about this. What was the court's response? Because if it gets back to people who talk about it professionally, that people want to know what the court has to say about it, they will ask the court what they have to say about it, and that will scare the hell out of the court. Good. Now, I believe it will be, but this is where I defer to Popok, certainly. I believe it will be Eileen Cannon deciding whether or not he has violated the order set by the other judge, whose hands, I think, are essentially washed of this at this point. Okay. Probably he's gonna get a pass then. But let's not make it easy for them to get a pass. Let's make her chew on her lips and gnash her teeth and get an ulcer as she worries at night about how embarrassed she will be if she continues to be a patsy for Donald Trump. Let her look at Walt Nauta, the dog she's going to have to take around side the barn, and envision her future as a patsy for Trump.
And have the rest of us speculate as to what you're talking about. Oh, I don't know. You've both been indicted federally. Walt Nauta, let's just lay it out in the indictment. According to the indictment, lied to the FBI, lied to the grand jury, told conflicting, competing stories about the documents, and was caught on video on closed-circuit television that the Department of Justice and Jack Smith have, moving boxes after the subpoena was issued. So the Department of Justice went to court, got a subpoena, which is an official legal document signed by the judge and the clerk ordering people to turn over documents. It's a court order. After the court order, they caught on television, on closed-circuit video, recorded by the Trump Organization, of all things, Walt Nauta moving boxes and moving them up to the personal residence of Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Note to Walt Nauta, you're in deep trouble. I know you think you love your boss, you love your job. You used to be a petty officer in the United States Navy. I would assume you took an oath to uphold the Constitution when you were sworn in, right? You're a Navy man. What are you doing? Just because the guy's paying the freight of your lawyers and employs you as a butler or valet, I like knowing exactly where my meat comes from. And with Moink, that place is from small family farms.
Now, normally it's Jordy that gets me. We're jumping past the Moink commercial, although if I'm being honest, if I were ever to go back to meat, it probably would be through Moink. So there you go. If you're an advertiser and you advertise on Midas Touch, let it be known you'll get a tentative half-assed endorsement from your old pal Jake. Side note, who else is excited about the lab-grown meat? I'll tell you, the idea that we can replicate a perfect cut of steak and nothing's got to die for me to enjoy it, I'm looking forward to it. Ooh, boy. I'm looking forward to it. But let's get back to the red meat that is Trump just having effed up.
Your own lawyer. Go get your own lawyer. And
yes,
your own lawyer,
thank
independent
you.
from Donald Trump's lawyers, and his PAC, his political action committee, will probably give you the advice to cut a deal with the Department of Justice and avoid jail time.
Walt Nauta, since I assume you watch this stream, look, do what Trump did. Do what Ivanka Trump did. she's not exactly bright, but she's not as dumb as her dad or her brothers. She got her own lawyer. She knows how this works. If you have a lawyer paid for by Trump, he will look out, they will look out, whoever it ends up being, for Trump's interests first. Those will likely be smaller fish in direct contrast to your interests. Even a public defender, truly, a public defender that doesn't work for much, but at least doesn't work for Trump, even they will do a better job of looking after your interests than they will of than whoever you've got now paid for by Trump. You've got a mob lawyer, Nauta. Mob lawyers look out for the mob. And really, that just means they look out for the boss. That ain't you. Be Ray Liotta.
And stop screwing around trying to figure out whether it's Pat's or Geno's in Philly that has the best Philly cheesesteak. And talking to your boss alone to allow the Department of Justice, magistrate judges, and federal judges to wonder, I wonder what they're talking about. It's not going to go well for you, Walt. You know, I'm sure your family up until that moment when you were indicted were proud of you.
Ooh. Devastating. Popak. But I mean, he ain't wrong, Nauta. He ain't wrong. You lived a life of honor. At least on the books you did. I don't know what you were like in your personal life, but up until now, to get assigned as the, what do they call it? The White House social aide. To get that job, you had to have been an honorable man, or at least appeared to be. Now, good God, you've fallen far. But not nearly as far as you can. You haven't hit the bottom yet. The bottom hurts. The bottom looks and feels, and in fact, is in reality a prison cell. You can avoid that, Walt Nauta. Just my 2 cents. Look, for the rest of us who have not conspired with a known criminal, a person who ran an organization which was proven to have defrauded the government, a person who sexually assaulted somebody, now demonstrated to have happened in court, a person who is currently under indictment for multiple crimes, state and federal. For the rest of us, I would write your local news organization, or, more realistically, writing a letter at MSNBC or CNN about this particular incident. Donald Trump was spotted hanging out with Walt Nauta in public. What does the court have to say about it? Maybe it'll get traction. But really, the goal is just to make these people a little bit more uncomfortable. Because that makes us happy. Makes me happy. Mars Falcon. Ooh. The revolution will not go better with Coke. Oh, little Gil Scott Heron. Yes, sir. The revolution will not fight the germs that cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised. Will not be televised. Will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live. Gil Scott Heron. Hell yes. Radical centrist. It will not be televised, but it will put you in the driver's seat. Beautiful. Christy Zilkowski, I'm scared of the lab-grown meat. I don't blame you. I will happily be the guinea pig for that. If I grow gills, I'll let you know. I'm going to need a date and time for our revolution, says Christy Zilkowski. Let me know. Boom. Hell yeah. Radical centrist. Oh, yeah, I read that. Any bets on who flips first, Trump or Walt? Walt, if he flips at all. Trump, I'm sure, has already tried to pin everything on Walt Nauta and, anybody else that he can. But he at the end of the day is the cause of all this. He knows it. The government knows it. He cannot flip very much. Honestly, in olden days, he could have. That's, I think, how Reagan escaped justice. But so goes life. Wireless mic. I'll try that test tube, Yardbird. All right. Anti-corporatist. I'm cautiously optimistic about the lab-grown meat, Jake. Have you heard? I have heard both good and bad things. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know if it'll be healthy. I think so. But I'll say this. There's enough people in this world of ours that are as gluttonous as I, that it's going to get tested real quick. As soon as it gets FDA approval, there's going to be a lot of people that eat it. Watch us for about 1 or 2 years, and, if we turn blue and keel over, maybe hang back. But there was always, in the great tribes that we came from, those cavemen who were willing to be like, I'll eat this mushroom. Let's find out. I know one killed Frank the other day, but those ones didn't kill Bill, so I'll try these ones. No, but this is a Frank pile. It serves a purpose in the end. Okay, so this has been an extra long pair of streams. Radical centrist, I may not be an early adopter, but I'll take it over the GD factory farm stuff. Yes, exactly. Ooh, interesting. They already have lab-grown chicken. It's just cloned chicken protein. Interesting. Well, it's been an extra long WYCD Wicked, which of course stands for What You Can Do. I had a blast hanging out with you today. We're on at 9 p.m. tomorrow as well. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Lord knows I appreciate it. We are on our way to, I'll say it, being Mr. 3000. Looking forward to it. My name's Jake. I'll see you tomorrow.